we streaming? Are we streaming? Shit. Wait. Oh, there we are. Are we streaming? Okay, yes, we are. We'll do a couple of other things if I don't feel like I did my time. I debated whether or not to do this as a standalone video or as a live stream, but fuck it, I decided to do it as a live stream. Styxhexenhammer is not looking good these days. He's wearing 2 robes. He's still trying to act like a pirate. His life is crashing around him. He is still broadcasting from a bed. And any respect I had for this guy has gone completely out the fucking window. Any respect I had for him as a guy is dead. So now he's resorted to believing in conspiracy theories that Kurt Cobain was murdered. No, Kurt Cobain shot himself.
All right, everyone. Today in things we already knew.
At one point, yes, and I am really sorry to say that I did.
About, but now they've been fleshed out a little bit more. Kurt Cobain was indeed murdered.
No, he wasn't. He shot himself. He shot himself by sticking a shotgun into his mouth and pulling the trigger down with his toe.
We've known this for quite some time because of the number of inconsistencies within the case. Firstly, the length of the shotgun involved. It was a fairly long weapon. In order to hold it to cause the injury commensurate, you'd have to be leaning back like this, and even then it would be rather difficult. I don't know, did he trigger it with his toes or something like that?
Yes, that's exactly what he did. He stuck his toe on the trigger and fired. That is exactly what he did. By the way, I'm going to, well, fuck it, maybe I'll bring this up. Your little scam on go whatever the fuck, go. Yeah, go send me go. Or give send go.
Because
we may talk about that in a minute.
That would be a hard act to follow, I think. Secondly, you have the suicide note, of course. The first part we know was written by Kurt Cobain. We're aware of this fact. This has been analyzed repeatedly. Nobody really disputes that. The addendum on the end...
Okay. Okay, this is where I'm really calling this into question, because you're asking for money to get off of booze. You're aware you can have moments of sobriety within a drunk, correct? You should know this.
And does not look like it was written by the same person. It also doesn't contain the same material. In the first part, you get the depressed rocker. He's like, hey, I'm tired of this. I want to leave my band. Okay. I'm upset with life. But there's nothing in there that has suicidal ideation. For instance, people have misconstrued...
By the way, you are aware of this thing where people can, for all intents and purposes, drink themselves sober.
Some of the things that I've said when I was sad, and they're like, are you okay? Do you need intervention? And shit like that. And it's like, I'm sad. It doesn't mean I'm going to off myself. But the second part is like, oh,
well, I think you might off yourself when you're faced with 2 years in prison.
Oh man, I'm going to do it. I'm really going to.
Because Lord knows that's what you're facing. Because you're an idiot.
Do it. Goodbye, and I love you, and stuff like that. It doesn't sound the same. It just factually does not sound the same. So, and it appears to be in a different handwriting. So that was always mysterious as well. Third, a person who's on 10 times or more the dose that a heavy heroin user would typically use should not be functionally capable of lifting their arms, let alone a shotgun.
And people should not be able to survive falling off 50-story buildings, yet they do. People shouldn't be able to survive prostate cancer, yet they do. People should not be able to survive all sorts of things, Styx, yet they do. There's always exceptions for every rule. Again, I'm the one saying that exceptions don't prove the rule, but again, I am willing to admit that there are exceptions. Stacy Keibler should have never been able to date George Clooney, given her age. Yet she did.
They shouldn't be They shouldn't even be awake. They should be in a coma at that point, incapacitated. So what this shows.
Well, this isn't even your worst point.
Is additional evidence. When they analyze it, they're like, hey, why is it that the hand that was right next to his exploding head doesn't have any blood on it?
Hey, why won't you just admit you got your ass beat by a girl? Because apparently some chick is the one that fucked his teeth up, but he decided not to press charges. Why not? I mean, you already have the physical damage to show she kicked your ass.
Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why does it appear that his body was moved? Because there's blood nowhere else other than on the bottom of the shirt. Why is it that there wasn't any blood in the lungs? If he shot himself without piercing the brainstem and simply happened to be on heroin at the time, but he was still alive, he should have aspirated a bunch of blood. That should have happened, but it...
Does it happen in every case? No. Again, Styx, for this to work, everything has to happen every time, all the time, no matter what. And life is a game of exceptions.
Didn't happen.
Again, I've gone all in on four of a kind and been beaten by a straight flush. Okay? I've gone all in on Full House. Been beaten by four of a kind. Generally, when you get to the level of four of a kind, Full House, you think you have it. Because 99.9% of the times, that's what it is. But life is an existence of exceptions. Maybe he was conscious with an amount of heroin in him that would have killed an elephant. The human body's kind of fucking weird, dude. Who knows? Maybe he snorted a bunch of fucking Turkish coffee beforehand.
Why is there a shell casing over across the room? Because in that particular position, it should not have ejected in that direction. Why is it that he carefully put...
There's 8 million reasons why that shell casing ended up over there. Fans finding him freaking out. Friends finding him freaking out. Family finding him freaking out. EMTs finding him freaking out. That kicked that shell to where it shouldn't have been. Perfectly plausible explanations, dude. And this happened before the police got there.
Away all of his heroin supplies after apparently having used enough so that he shouldn't have been capable physically of doing so. All of these...
Again, you'd be surprised what you're able to do.
things point to foul play. So
Again, Styx is assuming every human is the same, and we're not. Some have a higher tolerance to substances than others. Others have a higher tolerances to substances. Those are not. Sorry, Styx, your theory only works if humans are the same, and we're not.
So this is just additional evidence, and I would point out they've tried to get him to reopen the case twice before, and it never happened.
Yeah, because everyone involved that matters is satisfied with the coroner's report.
Denied it. They're going to try to reopen it again. They'll probably deny it again.
Yeah, because everyone is satisfied with the coroner's report. Whether you like it or not, Kurt Cobain shot himself. And now finally we get to the point where he is going to get into conspiracy territory.
This reeks of a cover-up. I have a feeling that Kurt Cobain was incapacitated, killed, and then he was posed as though he had committed suicide.
Okay. To what point and purpose? You believe he was passed out of his mind on heroin, put him against the wall, unconscious, shot. To what point and purpose? To what point and purpose?
Now, who done it? It could have been people who just fucking hated. Maybe it was drug dealers. It could have been.
No, that's way too precise for drug dealers. Drug dealers just would have walked in, saw him on the couch, and shot him.
He accidentally stiffed somebody on a heroin deal or something like that. He got into a fight with them, and they said, enough is enough of this bullshit. Fuck it. It could have been Courtney Love, semi-jilted lover at the time.
Will these faggots ever just let Courtney Love go? Courtney Love was on as many drugs as Cobain. I wouldn't have trusted that bitch to order me a pizza, let alone stage the assassination of her ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, or whatever the fuck they were at the time.
Trying to knock him off to get a hold of his shit. That's entirely possible. Maybe they had an argument or something like that. That's possible too. It could have been
And then she would have went back to the hotel room all upset and started doing drugs and alcohol, fallen asleep and forgot about it. Or had 37 guys come in her mouth. I don't know. All I do know is, at the time when Cobain was murdered, or killed, when he killed himself, she ain't doing dick. As for his songwrites, no, I believe that either went to A, his daughter, or B, and sent him in a trust fund, or B, his other bandmates. So this idea that Courtney Love killed him for financial gain is really fucking dumb. But you can ponder that when you get sent to fucking jail. 'Cause you're a fucking retard.
some random assailant for all we know. We're not 100% sure. It could have been somebody, maybe they robbed something and it just got overlooked. We're not 100% sure.
So you're saying Kurt Cobain was passed out on heroin, But while he was completely incapacitated and passed out on heroin, those are your words, he somehow woke up and had the wherewithal to fight and get accidentally killed or unintentionally killed or whatever by some people that were attempting to invade his home. Styx, if I'm going to believe your version of stories, then he's going to be so passed out, he's not going to notice people robbing him. He's just going to wake up in the morning and go, where did all my nice shit go? Like, you're completely contradicting yourself here.
Or exactly why it happened or who done it, but it appears to be homicide. I would say that the evidence weighs.
No, the evidence is what it is. It has been what it has been. Cobain killed himself. And that's the end of the story, really. Styx, I don't know what you were thinking with doing this. Oh, God, I'm only halfway through it. I thought he was wrapping up.
Is in favor of him being killed as opposed.
Okay, I guess I don't know what the fuck you were thinking of doing this, but whatever. I guess we'll move on.
To him having killed himself. Again, just the fact that he was so incapacitated on heroin effectively rules out his ability physically to kill himself in this manner. He shouldn't have been physically capable of doing the things that would have been necessary to...
Again, you'd be surprised what the human body can do when it's committed.
...arrange the scene in that way and to have killed himself in the manner that he supposedly did. It should be physically impossible. So this is just more evidence of what people speculate.
Again, you are assuming every human is the same, and we're not. We're just not!
Speculated for a very, very long time, since his death. Even right after his death, people were saying, this seems a little bit fishy to me. I wonder why. Could it be the fact that somebody on that much heroin shouldn't even be able to be awake? He should have been nodding.
Maybe he has a gene inside of him that makes him particularly numb to heroin. And unlike a normal person, he treats it like beer. Possible. Again, human beings are unique people. We're not a monolith. For your theory to work, we need a monolith. By the way, shouldn't you be worried more about the fact that you're going to spend a fucking year in prison versus however Kurt Cobain died? What? 40 fucking years ago?
To the point where he couldn't have even moved. I mean, if he was moving, it would be like something like that.
You know what would be really great is if you actually got out of bed and did this at a proper desk or something, but whatever.
Now, that's basically how he would have been moving at that point. He would have been, he would have been so high he wouldn't have even known who he was. He wrote songs about this. Heart-Shaped Box is a heroin song, along with half of the others, actually. He was murdered. I've long thought...
Okay. Any proof of this, or are you just speculating?
This, I've known plenty of other people that have been fans of Cobain. I don't think that I've ever met any of them that believes that he didn't kill him, that he didn't get killed. I don't think that there's...
Well, my older brother was a big Nirvana fan. And he fully rejects the idea that Courtney Love had anything to do with his death. Fully rejects the idea that it wasn't anything other than a suicide. And he's old enough to remember before Nirvana was a thing.
Anyone that I've ever met that's even remotely familiar with the case and the evidence in it that has ever speculated that he did kill himself. On the police, apparently, they basically closed the case immediately and said, oh, he blew his brains out. Yeah, look, here's a suicide note. He was sad. He killed himself. Case closed. Yeah, cut and dry.
No, Styx, that wasn't what closed it. Do you know what did close it? The coroner's report. That said, yes, this body died consistent with this. And all you dumb faggots that just routinely spew shit, you're just grasping at straws. You're like leftists that can't accept the fact that, yeah, Bobain killed himself and socialism doesn't fucking work.
Right, we don't need to do any more evidentiary gathering or anything like that. But the fact is that the scene should be impossible if you use this.
Again, assuming every human is the same, which we're fucking not.
Standard explanation, well, he just blew his head off because he was, despondent. That doesn't make any sense. Because by the time he used that much, let's say that he arranged everything beforehand. So the scene was as it is here, and then he decides to kill himself. But he uses that much heroin first. By the time he was done using that much heroin and became completely incapacitated, he shouldn't have...
Or he used a shit ton of... Here's another plausible scenario. He used a shit ton of heroin about 1 minute before he killed himself. Then he shot himself. So the heroin would have not had time to take effect to fuck him up completely, but would have shown up in his bloodstream. What about that, Turl? And something he's gonna say is just gonna piss me off beyond belief.
He wouldn't have been able to even lift the gun. Also, how is it that he managed to use that much heroin on his own anyway? By the time he got to the 5th or 6th dose worth, he would no longer probably be capable of administering more because he already would have been nodding to that point. So how did he even get that much heroin in his body? Heroin's really great, but I hyper-concentrated it even more, so this is even more powerful shit. That's basically what he would have had to do. But there's no indicator that this happened. There's basically no possibility that it happened, actually, when you think about it.
Okay. So who killed him? To what point and purpose did they kill him? And
I believe that he was murdered. These private investigators, they found, hey, he was probably...
Yeah, geez, private investigators funded by dipshits like you are hired to find shit to support your claim. And you're so desperate for your claim to be supported. If his breakfast order at Mary's Diner had regular omelets instead of Western omelets, you'd say that's evidence.
Murdered. Plenty of other people have believed this throughout the years. The only people that are denying it really are a handful of sad sacks and then the police and so-called justice system there.
Okay, so once again, this is where we get to the truth of the matter. Styx thinks that Courtney Love had Kurt Cobain killed. which again, Courtney Love at the time was on so many drugs she couldn't have ordered a pizza, somehow got Kurt Cobain killed for reasons. Doesn't specify the motive. Got him killed successfully. Somehow paid for this assassination without anything taking place. No alarm bells being raised. And then what? Because his bandmates got the benefits of Nirvana's songs. Again, to what point and purpose? To what point and purpose would anyone have to kill Kurt Cobain? Outside of some religious nut. The answer is none. The answer is, whether you like it or not, Styx, Cobain shot himself. It's very sad. It's very tragic. It unfortunately cemented one of the most overrated fucking bands in history into the lexicon for goddamn ever. But at the end of the day, it was just that. Cobain just shot himself and killed himself. There's nothing more, there's nothing less, there's nothing in between. Again, when a president, the most powerful man in the country, can't get a goddamn blowjob done without the media finding out about it, yeah, I tap X'd out on your conspiracy theories. Anyway, that wraps up this son of a bitch. It was a little bit shorter of a live stream, but I really want to go do other things. But I love y'all. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good night, everybody. God damn, Phil Clinton